Hi everybody, Joshua FlexTrades here. We're at PTXPO 2023 in Chicago. I'm joined by Brenda Clark, Engineering Manager for Hasco America. Hasco is a plate and component manufacturer for plastic injection mold makers. So Brenda, thank you very much first of all for the time. Second of all, can you tell us a little bit about your booth and what you're highlighting at PTXPO this year?
Certainly. We've brought a lot of our components and just a short batch of over our 110,000 components that we have. We've actually laid it out here as mold cooling area into mold making. So anything that goes into mold plates for mold build. But I always tell people we have in between the platens and then some. So not only do we supply for the mold machining and making components, but we can supply molders with what they need to do their molding.
Awesome. Well, we're going to take a look at the booth. Brenda's going to show us a few of the things they really want to highlight, each of those sections she underlined, and then we're going to take a look at a couple other things I'm excited to show you. Brenda, what should we look at first?
We can go right here and start with our mold cooling area. This goes in a little depth to from spiral cores, and they have double and single flutes to specific cooling that you can use where there's a stationary core pin and the water comes directly across. What molders like to do is if they have a cavity that has a hot spot, they can put this pin in there and then the cooling comes across and it'll draw that heat out to help with the cooling in their cavities and cores.
So basically a mechanical ice cube.
Yeah, basically.
Pretty cool.
Yep.
So let me ask you one thing. Obviously, you're not the only people in the injection mold business. We're in the middle of an entire expo on it. What about this part of your line sets you apart from the competition, in your opinion?
Hasco is known for its German quality, and the quality parts and the quality of the components that we put into those components. So you get that longevity, you get that reliability for your cooling components.
Awesome.
We also have a range of not only brass fittings, but now we're getting into stainless steel so that we can hit those industries that are really important, like medical and clean rooms and such.
Because that stainless steel holds a higher tolerance than brass does over time, or why?
It's more durable, but it's also clean. You can keep it under a cleaner atmosphere.
Makes tons of sense. What else should we see? Anything else here or another spot in the booth?
We can move on.
Okay, lead the way.
Over here, here's a mold plate. So we can actually get into what our customers do. They're mold builders. They're gonna take our mold plate, our standard mold plate, and they're gonna cut a pocket in it. And then they're gonna put what they do, which is their cavity and core work, that's gonna actually eventually make a plastic part. So they cut it out, they put their cavities cores in. So we supply the plate, we supply pins that go in so that the cavity and the core can mate to each other. We also supply components, like I said, for the molders, but even our customers. This one's unique. It's a lock check, and you can use it to actually track that mold that you've built. They can be anywhere from $10,000 or less, all the way up to $300,000 or more in price. Well, when you build that mold and you want to ship it to a different location, you want to track it. You want to know where it is and make sure it gets from your facility to where it's going to be molded. And that's what this does.
Yeah, and you've really kind of taken the paper traveler and just digitized it and made it harder to lose at the same time.
Right, and this can go cross country, it can go around the world. It's gonna let you know where your mold is.
And because of the QR code, I imagine there's a digital login that regardless of where that is, you can be anywhere to check it too.
Right, and you have control totally over it. We don't have any control over it. When you purchase that, that's yours, and you can have it assigned to yourself, or you can assign it to members of your team, or you can assign it to your own customer. So there's a lot of functionality with it.
This is one of my favorite parts about the expos is finding out the things you all make to support the things you make and the way that can be utilized in someone's process. Very cool.
And then we go into some of the intricate parts that can help. Once you have the cavity and cores all set up, you inject, but then you have to eject. So when you eject, we have sleeves and pins that are DLC coated. And DLC coating is a big draw on all of our parts, moving parts within that tool. So you don't have to actually grease that tool anymore. You can run a greaseless, dry system and actually mold stuff for highly medical stuff, parts that are going into bodies and food grade and whatnot, because you don't have to use grease in that tool anymore. So you can use this DLC coating. It can run on itself. It can run between, this leader pin has a DLC coating and the bushing has steel, and they run fine. They don't need additional grease. There's longevity to it, besides being able to run in a clean room and stuff like that. And these are two of our what we call fast moving latch lock systems, and they're used for plate movement. And you can see they're run on ball bearings, so that allows for the speed. And what these are utilized for tools that have like a temperature difference between the A side and the B side, so that when it's running, it's not going to crash, and it self-aligns itself so that it can run smooth and run fast. And there's two different ways of pulling. One's a pushing and one's a pulling. So when it's closed, it injects, creates a part, but then when it opens, this is where your part would fall out. This is where your runner would fall out, for example.
Very smart. And for those that may not be mold operators or tool and die techs, this is obviously a display piece. On a real machine. It'd be operating automated and at a much faster speed than Brenda's going to be cycling that.
And this is actually a cutout just to show how everything works in there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
What else should we see?
So we have another form here. And this is our two-stage ejector. And this is in a plexiglass sample. So this is a sample of two ejector plates and how they move. So you can see they both move together and then they separate. So you have two forms of ejection. You can have pins in the bottom plate and they'll move forward, and then the pins in the top plate can move a little forward. So if you have an intricate part and you need to have different levels of ejection, that's one sample. What we've done is we've taken it one step farther, because these molds can be built anywhere in the world. We want to ensure that people have the Hasco original parts, so that when they order these and they put them in their tool and they're running, something happens, they can get a spare part just like that, because they know they have a Hasco original. We have our Hasco app. There's a built-in scanner. And you just have to touch on that, and then it's ready to scan, and it scans the unit, and then you're ready to go. When you do that, and you do that scanning, it allows you to know the order number, the serial number, that it's a Hasco original part. It allows you to know what spare parts you need, how it should be fit in the tool, and run properly.
So everything you need to get the right part in the right spot for the thing you're trying to fix, rather than guessing your way through a parts book.
Right, and to know it's an original.
And I love that example too, because anybody that's watched our content knows I'm not the smallest fan of Industry 4.0 that's out there. But when people think of Industry 4.0, first thing we think of is robots, second thing we think of is 3D printing. And it's so much more than that. It's the technology in the machine, in the components, in the materials, and even in your service and your interaction with your hardware and software are blending all the time. And you guys at Hasco are doing a great job of illustrating that. Now, Brenda, you were telling us about that kind of ongoing battle between metric and standard, and you guys made a really cool showpiece kind of highlighting that. Can you tell us a little bit about this?
Yep, I had a lot of fun putting this together with engineers from Germany. We developed a chess set, and it's a war against the inch system, against the euro system. And we have our stainless steel fittings against our brass fittings from the US. We have stainless steel fittings in both options, but we just decided we'd make and have a challenge against US and metric, and so far it's been a draw. We've got one more day to go. We'll see where it ends up.
And I like highlighting this too, not just because it's a really cool marketing piece, and I'm a marketer at heart, right? And we're all selling and manufacturing, but also a thing that I talk about all the time on my webinars and when I'm in front of students at the younger levels is we have this preset notion of what manufacturing is, right? Dark, dingy, stamping out car parts. Whatever you're into, whatever your skills are, there's a home for you in manufacturing. You don't all have to be machinists. You can be a marketing person like me. You can be an engineer like Brenda. And wherever your passion is, you can apply those talents that you develop and then make a whole new thing. You made this as a set piece for your booth, and you already have one customer wanting to buy one off of you. The next great idea is just out there waiting to happen, and you guys have it. So thanks a lot, Brenda. I appreciate the time so much and the tour around the booth. We learned a ton here. Hope you have a great rest of the show. And if you guys don't make it to PTXPO, that's okay. Check out Hasco online. There's a lot of ways to connect with them.